After class 12 with PCM, most students feel that engineering through JEE AE is the only respectable option. But such ye hai, India has very few institutions that are created not for generic engineering, but for national scientific missions. One such institution is the Indian Institute of Space Science and Technology, IIST, a premier institute dedicated entirely to space science, space technology, and advanced research. Our mission is to pioneer the future of space science and technology, conducting advanced research that transcends the limits of our known universe.
So, for the thousands of you who've absolutely conquered the JEE Advanced, a whole new challenge is just beginning, figuring out what to do next. But what if the right path for you isn't just about getting a degree? What if it could, actually take you to Mars? Today, we're diving deep into an institute that was built for exactly that kind of ambition, the Indian Institute of Space Science and Technology.
Right, so you've got the rank. That is a massive achievement, seriously. But now comes that big question that every single high achiever has to ask themselves. Do I go for that corporate dream, the one with the huge starting package? Or is there another kind of dream, one that's literally out of this world, that speaks more to a real passion for science and discovery? And this slide, this really breaks that choice down perfectly. Over on the left, you've got the placement-driven culture that's so common in a lot of top colleges, right? The whole game is about corporate recruitment and those high starting salaries. But on the right, you see a completely different philosophy, a mission-driven culture where your education is directly tied to national goals and a truly deep understanding of science. It's like you're choosing between two different universes. Okay, so what exactly sets an institute like IIST so far apart from the typical B.Tech experience? Let's get into it and see what lies beyond that more conventional engineering path.
Well, for starters, you have to look at its very foundation. ISST was set up back in 2007 for one single, incredibly focused purpose. And the fact that it operates directly under the Department of Space, that tells you everything you need to know. This is not just another engineering college, it's an institution with a direct line to India's space ambitions, created specifically to train talent for ISRO and the National Space Program.
So here's what mission-driven really means when you're a student there. It means your final year project might not be some theoretical model, but an actual component designed for an upcoming ISRO satellite. You're not just learning theories from a textbook, you are being trained, day in and day out, to think and solve problems just like a real systems designer working on a critical national mission. It's a fundamental shift in how you see education.
And that mission focus is crystal clear when you just look at the curriculum. Forget about generic branches. Here, you're diving deep into the absolute nitty-gritty of space exploration. We're talking everything from the physics of launch vehicles and the electronics inside satellites to the fundamentals of astrophysics. Every single course is a building block for a career in space.
Now, if this is starting to sound like your kind of place, you're probably wondering, how do you actually get in? Let's switch gears to the practical side of things and break down that journey to admission.
It all starts with a top rank in JEE Advanced. That's your entry ticket. But here's the most important part. You have to specifically choose IIST during the counseling. This is not an institute you just stumble into. It's one you have to actively and deliberately go after. Your seat is then confirmed based on your rank among all the other applicants who made that exact same conscious choice.
And this number right here is exactly why that choice is so competitive. With only about 150 to 200 undergraduate seats per year, this place isn't some factory churning out engineers. You've got to think of it more like an incubator, a launch pad for a very, very select group of future leaders in space science and technology.
And as one of our sources puts it so perfectly, quality yahan quantity se zyada important hai. The philosophy is just crystal clear, quality over quantity. This ensures that every single student gets deep mentorship and becomes part of this tight-knit community that is just completely rooted in research and innovation. Of course, the really big question is, where does all this highly specialized education actually lead? Well, a degree from IIST opens doors to careers that have a truly massive national impact.
The primary pipeline for graduates, and as you can see from this chart, it's no surprise, leads directly into ISRO and other government research labs. I mean, that's the core mission. But look at the other paths. A huge number go on to pursue PhDs at top universities all over the world. While that growing slice on the right, that shows the increasing demand from India's booming private space tech industry.
Okay, let's just go ahead and address the elephant in the room. What about the salary? It's a huge question, and I think it's really important to have a totally honest look at the financial side of this particular career path.
So here's the deal. If your main goal, your number one metric, is a starting salary figure, then yeah, a top corporate job will probably win. But the rewards on this path are just measured differently. It's the difference between, say, optimizing an ad algorithm versus helping land a rover on the moon. It's about intellectual depth. It's about contributing to something way bigger than yourself. And it's about earning a kind of respect that a paycheck alone just can't buy.
And this really brings us to the core philosophy of a career that starts at IIST. ये path short-term salary के लिए नहीं, long-term purpose के लिए होता है. This path isn't for a short-term salary, it's for a long-term purpose. It's a choice driven by a genuine curiosity and a deep desire to make a real impact.
So after hearing all of this, the most important question is a personal one. How do you figure out if this unique, mission-driven path is your true calling?
You've got to ask yourself these questions. Do you genuinely love physics and math beyond just scoring marks? Does the idea of deeply understanding super complex systems excite you more than a routine corporate job ever could? Are you that person who's always wondering how satellites stay in orbit or how we control rovers from millions of miles away? If you're sitting there nodding your head right now, this might just be the place for you. And this brings us to what might be the most vital takeaway of all. IIST is not a backup choice. It's a primary, highly focused path for those who want to dedicate their entire careers to the frontiers of science and technology. So the real question for every JEE aspirant out there is this. Do you just want to build a career, or do you want to help build the future of space exploration?